All right, are we live? Are we live? Yes, we're live, and it's Thursday again, and it's time for another hour and a half of modeling mayhem with Live Mike here on the Modeling with Mike channel. And you know who this is? This is Moosey. He's the star of the channel. So let's get things started here with the normal poll results from last week. The poll question was: have you experienced hobby burnout? Yes was 94%, and no 6%. And I see John Christmas is on there. Hi, John. Do me a favor, John. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm using the mic for the first time, so let me know if you can hear me. And now we'll go into the subject of the day while I put Moosey down. There you go, buddy. Go to sleep. So, today, some people say old tooling kits are junk. Others say they're the best value in the hobby. By the end of this stream, hopefully you'll know exactly when old tooling kits are worth buying and when to walk away. And if you don't know that by the end of the stream, at least you'd have a good time, hopefully. So, what are old tooling kits? Old tooling are 1960s to 1990 molds. They have raised panel lines, simple interiors, simple engineering, and basic fit. And why do old tooling kits matter today? Well, if you're like me and you're on a fixed income, the prices of new tooling kits are constantly going up. On top of that, there's reissues flooding the market. Now, why do people still buy old tooling kits? Well, number one, they're lower cost and better availability, especially with rare subjects. Number two, there's nostalgia and childhood builds. Some of these builds you did as a child aren't available anymore. There's simple engineering, which equals less frustration. And they're great platforms for weathering practice, scratch building, and learning fundamentals. Now, what are some of the downsides of old tooling kits? Well, they have fit issues. Some of them have soft and inaccurate details. Especially nowadays, a lot of them have flash and sink marks. And whether you love or hate them, they have a lot of raised panel lines. Now, what's some of the differences between old tooling and new tooling kits? Well, number one's price. And you also have time investment. A lot of skill required in new tooling kits that you don't find in some of the old tooling kits. There's some out there that require a lot of skill. The final results potential can be a little bit lower on old tooling kits. I'm not saying they always are, sometimes. And there's a difference in the enjoyment factor. Some people like new tooling, some people like old tooling. Now, when are old tooling kits 100% worth buying? Well, When you're like me, for instance, and you're on a tight budget, whether you want a display model or a competition build, rare subjects a lot of times are only available on old molds. And builders who enjoy fixing problems will benefit from an old tooling kit most of the time. Now, when should you avoid old tooling kits? Well, a lot of these reissues are coming out and they're overpriced. Avoid any kit with poor instructions, warped parts, or missing clear parts or decals. So there's my spiel as it is. Let's go to the chat, shall we? And it's already lively. John Christmas says, hi, Mike. Chet, how you doing, Chet? Says, hey, y'all. John says, coming in great, excellent. And Jan, how you doing, Jan? He says, evening, yeah, I can hear you, good. Chet says, what did you say? Yeah, okay. Then he says, I can hear you. Jan says, anything with the new tool kit means everything before that is old tool. Well, not necessarily. If there was something bought out, say Airfix bought out something a couple years ago and they refine the tool and it becomes a new tool kit, hey, that doesn't necessarily mean that the one that was just bought out was an old tool kit now. John says, I love the old Airfix vintage classics. They can be challenging but great for nostalgia. True. I do like those to myself. Adrian, he says, hey, Mike and Moosey, how are things going? Things going great here. Had a good week. I'm actually ahead on my outlines for videos and live streams. So, yeah, I'm going to get more ahead too. This printer has just been working wonders for me. Chet says, easy for you to say. Chet says, old tooling car kits are not worth, so you can send them all to I'll help so you don't have to deal with it. LOL. Chet says, subject matter. Adrian says, some of the old kits are great for practicing on, using a painting mule or brushing up on weathering. They are usually cheap unless you are after some of the old rare kits. Yeah, I have two kits. You've seen it on some of my videos that I use. I have those are old tool kits that I use as I call them busters, but yeah, they're mules. Jan says, indeed, subject matter. Okay. But old or new tool subject matter. I mean, Chet says new tool can me. They changed a part. They are not paying $350K and up for new molds. Oh, I think that's supposed to be a new tool can be. They changed a part. Yeah. They're not paying $350K and up for new molds. True. Very true. Which keeps the price down of the kit. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it's okay. New tool can mean okay. Yeah, true. Yes, very true. It can mean they changed a part. Yes. Let's see. Here's a question for y'all. What's the oldest kit you ever built? Put on your Wayback Caps. Let me know the oldest kit you ever built. For me, hmm, I forget what it was, but it was from back in the 50s. I think it was I think it was a plane. I forget what plane it was, but I looked it up on ScaleMates and I actually found it and it was first released back in the 50s. I'm like, wow, cool. Chet says, Johan, 71 kudas. Jan says, Revell Beetle in a build marathon. Oh, was that the one you put in the holiday group build, Jan? Because if that was it, that was a good build. Yips. Yeah, that was a good build. I was impressed. And and from what I see, just tell me if I'm wrong, but it looked like you just used spare decals on that. Only from 1 feet away. Yeah, that beetle. I mean, that was a nice use of spare decals. If you Adrian says, I can remember building the Airfix Henry VIII 1/12 scale in the 1960s. Wow. Jan says, yeah, spare 48 scale decals, 72 scale would have been better. I don't know. Well, maybe. You know, those decals you used look pretty good on it. I mean, I don't know. I liked the build. I liked the build. So what do you guys think of my new hotty toddy little microphone here that changes color every like 5-10 seconds? Cool. I think it's cool. Got it for Christmas. It was good. Jan says, I'm happy with the result. You should be. You should be. It was a good build. John says, I built the Airfix Black Knight. Wish I kept it as a separate now, as a super rare now. Yeah. Wow. Airfix Black Knight. What's some? I don't know. Adrian says, looks as though you may be able to microwave your supper on it. try that. Having leftovers tonight, so it might work. Yeah. So, John, what's a Black Knight? Is that a plane? I don't think I never heard of it. But as I say, it's super rare now, so probably never seen it before either. So, so what is a Black Knight? Oh, okay. Warrior from medieval times. Ah, okay. So it's more like a figure. Hmm. So let's see here. Okay, Okay, Chet says new tool kits are misleading. They are not new molds. They are typically tweaked old models with new decals and box art, at least with cars, not sure armor, planes, or boats. Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's a lot of misleading stuff out there when it comes to saying new molds or new release or stuff like that. There are a lot of I think we had a live stream last year, whether about companies misleading us with new tools and re-releases and stuff like that. I think we had a live stream last year about that. Jan says Scalemate says your friend. Yes, it is. It's helped me out many a times. Adrian says it's like Airfix's new releases. Most of them are re-releases. True, true. Very true. Jan says, but they say when it is. Mm. Moosey. Moosey. Enough. Thank you. Jan says the JU-52 and Canberra look good. Yeah, I noticed those releases too. They do look good. Here's another question for you. What's the best old tooling kit you've ever built? Chet says, very rarely are there new molds except Salvino's junior models and some foreign manufacturers. There are a couple of new cars from American Chinese companies, though, like TGE 2021 Bronco. Okay. I was going to say, what does DGE mean? Yeah, okay. You have fat finger syndrome today, Chet. Yeah, your point is well taken. Chet says Salvinos are NASCAR and IndyCar kits. Yeah, for the most part. So, folks, well, okay. What's the best old tooling kit you've ever built? Hmm. I gotta think about that one. Chet says the JR is JR for Jim and Rick. Okay. John says you not built a car until you done the bond bug. Yeah, I tried to look that up to buy it when they re-released it for that short period of time, a year or two back, and I couldn't find it. The ones I could find were just so high priced it wasn't even funny. Jan says Airfix have only like 4 designers. Best old tool, Bond Bug from Airfix. There you go. Yeah, I wanted to do that. Mac Daddy Model Hobby. How you doing, Mac Daddy? Since you just showed up, the topic today is old tooling kits. Are they worth buying anymore? And the question at hand is, what is the best old tooling kit you've ever built? Adrian says the Italian JU52 is an excellent build. The Italeri, the Italian, yeah. JU52 is an excellent build. John says, got 2 bond bugs in stash, both Airfix. Isn't Airfix the only one that did the bond bug? I've never seen it from anybody else. Chet says, in my opinion, there are no bad old toolkits. They are all good. What changes is the skills needed to polish a turd. I don't mind having to deal with working a model. Chet says, what is a bond bug? A bond bug is a 3-wheeled car that was, I believe it was used in one of the very early James Bond movies. And it's a pretty rare kit now, because I've only seen it released by Airfix. And they re-released it last year, the year before, and haven't seen it since. John says it's an orange 3-wheel car. Yep. And I believe it was used in one of the first James Bond movies. That's where it's got its name, Bond Bug. Please correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. Adrian says Air Tracks models do a bond bug in resin, 1/24. Wow. Okay. I've never seen it before, but then again, I don't usually look at resin kits. Mac Daddy says, doing good. I have not been modeling that long, so I really am not qualified to comment, but will be listening and maybe I will learn something. Hey, there you go. You got a bunch of guys in here that you can learn from. Bunch of excellent modelers, in my opinion. Like Chet knows his way around a model car. Not me. Okay, whatever, Chet. Whatever. The Lou Holtz of model building. None of you guys are from around here, so I'll tell you what I mean by that. When Lou Holtz was at Notre Dame, he was famous on the local news for uh, saying how terrible his team was every Thursday, and then that Saturday they go out and kick their team's ass by 40, 50 points. uh, okay. Oh, Chet says the past couple days been hand painting two figures and a still. Oh, is that for that bootlegger's ball root build? I want to see that when you're done with it. That sounds like it's going to be an excellent build. John says if you want a challenge from an old kit, you should get the Airfix Belvedere. You will pull your hair out and go mad doing it. I've heard a couple other modeling channels say, not be very complimentary about that kit. Chet says gonna make it a diorama. Cool. Adrian says the Bond bug did not appear in any James Bond films. Well, thank you for correcting me, Adrian. Chet says, what year Belvedere? Chet says, I like 65 with the 440 or 426 Hemi. Adrian says, what was there a good year for the Belvedere? I think you're talking about two different things, guys. I think, let's see, I think John was talking about the Belvedere plane. Oh, 1959. Okay. I think Chet's talking about a car and John's talking about a plane. Oh, helicopter. Okay. I knew it was a. I knew the Belvedere was a aircraft of some sort. Jan says there are a lot of bad old toolkits. You just have to find the gems. Very true. Chet says the movie ruined too many Furies, Belvederes, and Savoys. uh, yeah. Oh, Christine. Okay. The movie Christine. Yeah, that Fury and Christine. That was a bad car. That was a bad car. I saw somebody, same car bodies, different trim levels. Okay. I saw somebody, I think it was last year, the year before, again, uh, on his channel. He did the Christine car and he put all the lights in it. He like hollowed out the front grill so the lights had come through, and the headlights he hollowed out so the light would come through there. Oh, it was cool. It was cool as hell. It sort of looked just like the movie poster when he was done with it. It was, oh man, it was cool. And I forget who it was. I forget who it was. Might have to go back and check out everybody's channel just to see who it was. That'll take a while. Oh, here's another question for y'all. What's the worst old tooling kit you've ever fought with? I got uh, I got one that's heads heads and shoulders above all the rest have done, and that was a 1/72nd scale Russian I-16 Polykarpov plane. Oh God, that thing came out of the box. It was just two sheets of nothing but flash with parts mixed in. I did so much trimming of flash on that damn thing. And then the fit. Oh God, it had so many gaps in the engine cowling that, oh God. Belvedere helicopter, worst I've ever done. There you go. Chet says, I know a few builders that light up their cars. See Me BMW, Bruce's Eclectic World, Model Car Madness, RI, and Grano X Marks Hobbies. Okay. No, it wasn't one of them. Oh, Grandpa. Okay. Grandpa Mark's Hobbies. Damn, Chet, you have fat finger syndrome today, big time. Been there. Matter of fact, when I was typing out all the info when I was scheduling this exact yesterday, I had to go back and correct words at least 5 times. Hey, we're up to 9 people. Hey, let's get double digits. No, down to 8. Oh well. Uh-oh. Dogs are barking. Chet says inhaling too many paint fumes before jumping on and up late watching the Hardball watch. Oh yeah, yeah. Looks like your Giants are gonna get him. I don't know. It'll be what they need. John says, "What's everybody's thoughts on the vintage classics Airfix are releasing this year?" Haven't seen it yet, John. I've been wanting to, but been working. Adrian says, "Can't remember the name of the kit, but it was an old biplane from France, 172nd with a lot of PE. It ended in the bin where most PE models should end up." Chet says it's a done deal, just waiting on some finalizing. Congrats, my friend. You guys need them. You guys need them bad. That's really all they need, I think, is just a change of culture. Jan says Airfix Vintage. The hovercraft looks fun. Got a hovercraft. Chet says that and a good DC. True, very true. But I mean, John, he's going to get you a good easy for you to say. He's going to get a good DC. I mean, hell, he had Wink Martindale for years. How much you want to bet, Chet, that old John goes in and plucks old Wink away from. We had Wink for 2. Okay, well, I bet you, John's gonna go down and pluck Wink out of Michigan. John says waiting to see if hovercraft comes with the cars. Ah, cool. Yeah, I gotta go back and look at a couple of Airfix and chills that I've missed because I missed the unveiling. Chet says I think maybe Antonio Pierce for DC. He'd be a good choice too. A lot of good DCs out there. John says, but think that release is licensed to print money. Okay. Damn, people, can you believe it's already almost 40 minutes into this thing? Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Well, tonight I gotta come in here and do a little deeper research into one of my upcoming upcoming, they're called videos, Mike. Yeah, one of the upcoming video subjects got to do a deeper, research into that. Chet says, I can't think of a bad kit, but I don't like when the older molds have the cake shaft going through the engine, the exhaust, and the rear differential molded in. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the axle shaft. Okay. Yeah. I've done a couple kits like that too. And yeah, they, they tend to not really complicate things. They just, you know, autocorrect doesn't like axle. Yeah, I was wondering what the hell a cake shaft was. Never heard of a cake shaft. Sounds delicious though, but Adrian says, but it likes cake, so can't be bad. True, true. Dean Gregg, what's up, buddy? Says, hi, Mike and Moosey. Airfix new 2026 release Legends series. Douglas Bader, World War II flying ace who flew Hurricane Mark I and Spitfire Mark II-A. Looks cool to build. Mike, have you ever built a Hurricane? No, but I want to. That's on my list. Or maybe I haven't. Hawker Hurricane. I either built one or I have it in the stash. The model student. Hey, welcome back. Hey everyone, bag kits, AMT Gullwing Mercedes, twisted and warped and into the bin. Oh man. Yeah, I could see that, especially a Gullwing. You get a twisted body or a twisted uh, chassis on that. Those things aren't going to fit whatsoever. I hate these. I'm going to turn off notifications. John says they re-released the Hellcat, but very pricey, and also buy together a Pearl Harbor 85th anniversary set that looks good. Cool. Jan says that Douglas Bader set is expensive though. 90 pound for a 48 scale Bulldog Hurricane and Spit. Wow. Go Army, sleep in the mud. How you doing, buddy? I have a Monogram B29 kit from about 1992. I started it back then, but have yet to finish it. Adrian says that Hellcat is a ridiculous price. $200? Yeah, way too much. Yeah, that's way too much. Okay, folks. It's about 45 minutes into this thing. Jan says Hellcat is only 20 to 30 pounds more expensive than on first release. Model student says B25J is a great kit. Okay. So it's at 45 minutes, so it's time for me to tell you what's coming up on the channel. So upcoming videos. for you all to watch tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to take a dive into dollar store tools and we're going to test them and test some of them. Some of them everybody knows about. There's one or two of them that some of you may have never thought of using. So we'll test those out tomorrow. Coming up Tuesday, I'm going to film this tomorrow afternoon. Are scale model forms, are they toxic or helpful? This is one of these live streams that I did last year that I'm going to adapt to a video. And then Friday, we're going to jump into the real cost of scale modeling in 2026. So that's what's coming up on the channel video wise. Jan says, big plane though. Yeah, a B-25J. Yeah, that's a big plane. Chet says some people are getting $80 for the AMT Sundowner PU. It's a Walmart exclusive that goes for $20 at the store. It's just a deserter kit with updated decals. Some people are nuts. I'll agree. Some people are just plain stupid. So, okay, I had a new question for you, but I wanted to get that update in. So, new question. Would bad fits stop you from buying a kit? Yes or no? For me, no. It's just a challenge to get past. Chet says the Deserter is a re-release of the Fall Guy truck. Okay. Chet says no. Yeah, I would. It wouldn't stop me either. John says, Jan, Hellcat has a great engine in the kit. Go Army, sleep. Go Army. I'll just call them Go Army. I am not great at model kits, so I would probably not buy a poor fitting kit. Okay. John says no. Okay. So Go Army is the only yes to that question. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't stop me at all. That's what putty and filler and sandpaper are for. Go Army says that's very true. Thank you. Chet says the best way around the best way around a figment issue is to mock it up, make whatever repairs you need before paint. Fitment, yeah. Yep. Yep. Like I said, that's what filler and sandpaper are for. And fit twice, glue once. Yep. Amen on that. And yeah, I tell you, there's some kits you just gotta putty and fill the hell out of them. Like this I-16 that I built was that cowling. Just there were so many gaps in it. Half that around the cowling was freaking sprue goo, but it ended up looking pretty good. Adrian says it depends on how much of a challenge that I fancy. Okay, yeah, because some of those old tooling kits can be quite a challenge. Bubba, where the hell have you been, buddy? Hey, Mike and viewers, in my opinion, it varies based on the company. Airfix and my experience is good, but I haven't had much experience out of that. And they both, you're right, they both are good. Chet says, I'm currently working on a 72 Nova with separate front fenders. They are a little finicky to line up. Yeah. Wow. Bubba says, sorry, was shoveling snow for 7 hours and went to take a nap. Wow. How much did you guys get up there? We got like 7 inches down here last night. And it all was last night. It snowed like hell during the day for like an hour and a half because I was doing laundry. Going up and down the hallway, I could see it just every time I went. It was like it was up to my knees, and I'm 5 foot 7 inches tall. Damn. Okay. So knee high, not a good foot and a half. Chet says, as far as cars, you can take it to my kits, dump glue, and paint in the box, and out pops a completed model. Yeah, it's called shake and bake. It's called shake and bake. That's why they call it shake and bake. Bubba says, so what did I miss? Well, let me tell you the subject matter for today is old tool kits. Are they worth buying anymore? And uh, and the question that was out there was, what's the worst old tooling kit you ever fought? Oh, wait, no, we already did that. The question, Bubba, was, would bad fit stop you from buying a kit? Yes or no? Chet says to improve your modeling skills, you need to work out model issues and learn to clean flash. Yes, especially on an old tool kit. John says another old company for challenging kits is Kitty Hawk. Poor fit, poor instructions. I've done one of their kits. One. And there's a reason why I've only done one. Oh, yeah, Bubba. And you also missed my update on what's coming up on the channel, but I'll do that one more time as usual before I sign off. Chet says instructions are just a suggestion, just like speed limit signs. They're just a suggestion. That's what my friends and I always say. Speed limit signs are just a suggestion. especially when my best friend's with us in the car, because he's like a truck driver, and he's also, once he's in the passenger seat, he's a front seat driver. Oh God, passenger seat driver, and drives us nuts. And, don't worry about it, dude. Speed limit signs are just a suggestion. Sit back, Adrian says, try border models for confusing instructions. Fantastic kits, but you do need a degree in sorting out hieroglyphics. Never had it. Excuse me. Never did a border model before. Never had never had the pleasure. Oh, okay, there you are. Bubba says, most of the time, poor fit to me is if I can't see it, it doesn't exist. And if I do see it, I turn it to weathering. I haven't had a kit with such poor fit I couldn't do it. Yeah, me neither. Yeah, I said it before, Bubba, but you missed it. You weren't here when I said it, so I'll say it again. Poor fit. That's why they made filler and sandpaper. If it has gaps, fill it. Bubba says, except for Mr. Crap. Just tried one of their kits and nearly had a stroke. Mr. Crap. Chet says, anyone want to learn how to take care of frame warping? Build a semi truck, lots of parts that go on long frame rails. Yes. Either a semi truck or uh, if you're into if you're into military vehicles, like something like a deuce and a half kit, something that needs a lot of reinforcing in the frame, you're gonna have to put in frame rails. Oh. John says, doing a kit from I Love Kit fit is a dream and great instructions. I've heard that. They're owned by the same company. I think it's they own same company that own Ming and Great Wall, I think. Adrian says ICM is the way to go. ICM is very good. Yes, I like ICM. But I still say you want a great fitting kit and you don't want to look around, go for Tamaya. John says, also has a large frame, no warping. Yeah, yeah. Jan says, I got the new Arma Hobby ME262 pre ordered. Cool. Excellent. Chet says, today I also wired the plugs on a 454, and yes, I follow the correct firing order, but that's the former mechanic in me. No, nothing wrong with that, Chet. Jan says, I'm a fanboy, an Arma Hobby fanboy. There you go. I don't know what model manufacturer I'm a fanboy of. I'd say my two favorites that have done repeatedly are uh, Airfix and ICM. I love both of them. I also love Tamiya, but who doesn't? Here's another good question for you. If both cost the same, would you pick an old tooling kit or a new tooling kit? If both cost the same, I'd go with the new tooling kit. I don't know. There's some I don't know. That's a good question. Chet says me, I dislike Tamaya's subject matter. Mm. Go Army says new. Jan says new tool. Yeah, I'd probably go new tooling just because too much too many variable things to go wrong with old tooling. Bubba says, how old is the old tooling? Well, just for the to answer your question, just for the conversation, I defined old tooling as 1960s to 1990s molds. John says new, as will have crisper detail, but if for nostalgia, old. True, very true. Jan says the state of the hobby is such that new kits are way too good. Fit issues are mostly your own mistakes. That is very true. Chet says new tool is the same as old tool as it's not new molds. That's why new kits have more flash than when they were first released. Um, well, maybe in the car, maybe in the car genre, but you go into uh, armor, planes, something like that. They're gonna be you're gonna have flash in the old tools. Bubba says, if we are talking 1960s tooling, I'll take old to see what you old people had to deal with. But for 70s and up, I'll take new tooling. Yeah, Bubba, but 70s is old tooling. Old tooling is 1960s to 1990s mold. New tooling would be like 2000 and up. Wow, already passed an hour. Bubba says, I know there's just something about 60s tooling that interests me. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Chet says, find me a new mold of a 70 CUDA. Yeah. Yeah. Point taken. Or even a current re-release. Very true. John says, Bubba, buy one. It will soon put you off them. Yep, I agree. Jan says, how much is the new Tamiya F14 72nd scale? I don't know. Haven't looked it up. I would guess in the neighborhood of 20, 25 bucks, which in euros, I don't know what the exchange rate is for that, but I'm thinking 20 to 25. Jan says, I guess way more expensive. Oh. Chet says, I dare Mike to buy and build an Alpha car kit. It's new tooling. Oh, I might buy one and do a build series on. Bub says they're PE. If there is, you'll never see it in my on my bench. That's a promise. That is an absolute promise. There's PE on it. It'll never hit my bench. John says 36 pounds. So Chet says they are around $160, lots of PE and carbon fiber. Well, let's see. Never worked with carbon fiber. Hate PE. Therefore it'll never hit my bench. And I'm never going to spend $160 on a model kit. Don't have that kind of money. Adrian says Revell did an AAR CUDA released in. Let me say that again. Adrian said Revell did an AAR CUDA released in 2019. Okay. Bubba says, what do you mean, Mike? You heart PE. I do not heart PE. PE will never again hit my bench. Chet says, Adrian, I have two of them, but not currently car. Chet says, available. Okay. Not currently car available. Okay. John Christmas says, heart PE. Next person who says next person who says I heart PE gets deleted. Mike Hart PE, say it together. Chet entered that while I was saying that, so I'm not going to delete him. But starting right now, the next person who says Mike Hart PE will be deleted. I'm not going to hide you, I'll just delete you. If I hide you, you'll never be able to. Hiding is like banning you from the chat because you'll never be able to post a chat on here again if I hide you. So I'm just going to delete you. So let's time for a new question, I think. What do you look for before buying an old tooling kit? What do you look for before buying an old tooling kit? And if I'm allowed to look into it, I'm going to see number one, is there flash all over the place? Number two, gonna see if there's any parts warped or anything like that. Number three, see lots of sink marks. Chet says, come on, Mike, you enjoyed it. PE can be fun. I personally try to stay away from it, but that's me. I did not enjoy it. It was a pain in the ass. Adrian says, money in my wallet. Bubba says, Mike Hart PE and a video on the internet to see what it requires. Well, Bubba, you apparently didn't take me seriously on that. So I'll just remove that message. Hold on, folks. I got this damn pop-up ad that keeps coming up. Got to get rid of it. Okay. Chet says subject matter, subject matter, subject matter. Adrian says, or a non-screaming credit card. John says, funds available. Jan says, reviews. I want to see inside the box. Bubba says, I used the black heart. Okay, my bad. My bad. Sorry about that, Bubba. That means hate. No, yes, it does. My bad. My bad. But I just deleted that one message, so you can still message at least. At least I didn't hide you, bud. I'm not about to hide anybody just because they. I mean, if they step over the line, yeah. Let's see. View deleted message. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay. There you go, Bubby. Your message is back on the chat, I think. Or else I'm just viewing it. Yeah. Okay. We only have 15 minutes left in the stream anyway. My bad. I'll at least admit when I made a mistake, and I made a mistake there. My bad. I'm sorry. My apologies to you, Bubba. Bubba says 15 already. I just literally got here. Yep. Yeah, Jan says I kind of like PE, but you need patience, a lot of patience. Yeah, you have to have the patience of Job. I have patience, but PE just stretches it too far. you know, it just stretches it too far. Bubba says, and it's whatever. It's just the YouTube stream comment, not a big deal. Thank you. Chet says, I will say at least with cars, unless you are building totally box stock, you will be customizing anyway. Very true. Very true. Especially with cars. There's so many things you can do with a car. Well, there's a lot of things you can do with anything, but especially cars. Uh, one more question before we stop here. I probably know the answer to this, but would you return a kit once you realize it's old tooling? I wouldn't. Just because it's old tooling is not a reason for me to return it. Hell, most of the kits in my stash are old tooling. John says I still need to have a go at wiring an engine. Me too. Me too. Chet says now with 3D printed parts, PE, and kit bashing, you can do a lot with a car. Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Bubba says if it's a relatively expensive kit in a box that indicates a new kit, yes, I would return it. Yeah, yeah, because it's misleading. Yeah, yeah. If they're misleading you, I wouldn't blame you for returning the thing. The only crappy thing there is you can't return it unless you bought it from the manufacturer themselves. You can't return it to the manufacturer. You have to return it to the store you bought it to get your money back, and therefore you're hurting the store who has nothing to do with it, you know? They didn't make the kit, you know? But no, just a thought. Chet says to wire plugs on an engine, you need micro drills, and it's best to get a pre-wired distributor from a number of aftermarket companies. Yeah, yeah. And those micro drills are a bitch to work on because those bits are easy to break. John says, Bubba, you've obviously never been caught out by Revell kits. Very true. They're good for that. They are very good for that. Bubba says, I don't really bother with Revell outside of their glue, to be honest. And there's some Revell kits that are all right. You know, they just, I don't know, they're iffy on their, reboxing and re-releasing, and yeah. Adrian says, I feel our hobby is to do with plastic wrangling. YPE resin and 3D bit doesn't that defeat the whole objective? Yes and no. PE resin 3D, all that was made for either replacing damaged parts or missing parts, or to upgrade, or to detail something. And in my opinion, they've just basically flooded the market with all that crap. Chet says Johann had the most accurate car bodies, chassis, and interior a bit lacking. Never had a Johann kit. Bubba says, I feel like that's due to rivet counters and to increase profits any way possible. No, good point. John Christmas says, Adrian, that's a subject for another debate. Yeah. So why not have it next week? Let's have that debate next week. Would you guys like to have that debate next week? Let me know, because there's only like 3 more minutes till I have to shut this off and make the poll for this week and go and make dinner. Adrian says, trouble is the dust from resin parts when you cut it off the frame is highly carcinogenic. Very true. Chet says 3D resin parts are mini models and you need to learn to fabricate to fit it. Bubba says, I like that idea. John says, def, short for definitely. Chet says, I love 3D engines, more realistic. Build a bunch, but don't always use it. Yeah. So I'm going to mark that down. Next week. Let's see. PE. PE resin and 3D parts. Let's see. Useful or okay. Chet says you only get dust when sanding, not usually from cutting off. True, very true. Adrian says the easiest way is to use a Dremel to cut it out of the cage. Yep. A lot of those times you can just break those parts around the cage and get it out. Chet says I just use nippers, and that'll work too. Okay, folks. It's an hour and 27 in, so it's time to start shutting this one down. I want to thank you all for showing up. I believe we had a record 12 people in the chat at one time. Excellent. So thank you for all for showing up and taking part. Another great live stream. Remember, Frugal Scale Modeler Group. Always leave a link to the home page in my videos. Go on there, go to the group homepage, and answer 3 questions and agree to the group rules, and you're in. Gallery discount. Use the code, either code, MW Mike, all capital letters, all one word. That'll get you $10 off your discount from my channel. If you want to use Chet's code, it's Billboards Builds, all one word. Let's see, next videos. As I said before, tomorrow, Dollar Store Tools will be tested. Tuesday, Scale Model Forums, toxic or helpful. And then next Friday will be the real cost of scale modeling in 2026. And let's see. Oh, yeah. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this, press like and subscribe. Both help the channel out immensely, more than you'll ever know. So let's see. Let's catch up on the last of the chat. Adrian says, have a good one, Mike. Good stream. Catch you on the next one. Have a good one, Adrian. Bubba says, next one will be better, hopefully. You didn't like this one? Well, you weren't around for much of it, but Chet says the smaller parts you can't twist off, too fragile. True. Model student says, awesome. See you next time. Model on. Bubba says, anyways, see you next Thursday, Mike. See you, Bubba. Have a good week. John's Christmas says, got a full day of modeling tomorrow. Enjoy it. Chester says, Bubba, in the States, that could be a curse. LOL. Chet says, have a great and blessed week. You too, Chet. Bubba says, it was good. I have fun. Hey, that's a great way to end it here. So, y'all know what we say around here. Say it with me. Never stop pushing your modeling boundaries. And until next week, well, even until tomorrow at 8:30 from the next video, we'll see ya. Bye.